In continuation of our lesson on transport in plants, we have discussed up to osmosis, and today we are going to discuss about this important phenomena known as plasmolysis. This plasmolysis is also called as exosmosis. This is also called as exosmosis. When a plant cell is placed in a solution called hypertonic solution, water from the cell will come out into the outer atmosphere. So as a result of this, the cell undergoes a phenomenon called shrinkage. The plasma membrane, it shrinks and it comes to occupy the center of the cell. Suppose if this is the cell, if we are placing this cell in a hypertonic solution, first of all, the water from the cytoplasm, this is the cytoplasm and this is the vacuole. This is the vacuole and this is the cytoplasm. So whenever we place a cell in a hypertonic solution, first the water from the cytoplasm will come out. As a result of this, the cell shows shrinkage in the corners like this. So these corners, they become vacant, and this type of phenomenon is known as, this is the starting position or the starting point for the plasmolysis, and this is known as incipient plasmolysis. Incipient plasmolysis. Here, water from the cytoplasm will come out first. So water will come out first from the cytoplasm. Later on, if we keep this cell for longer period in the hypertonic solution, water from the vacuole, this is the vacuole. So from the vacuole also water will come out. So during plasmolysis, first water will come out from the cytoplasm. In the second stage, water from the vacuole will come out. As a result of this, finally, if we observe the next stage, and the entire plasma membrane, the plasma membrane will come to occupy the center of the cell. The plasma membrane becomes contracted, and it will occupy the central position of the cell. And the entire, if we keep this cell for longer periods, the space between the cell wall and the plasma membrane is occupied by the hypertonic solution. And now this cell is said to be in a state called, this stage is known as flaccid state. This is called flaccid state. When the entire water content of the cell now will come out, the cell shows shrinkage. At this condition, that cell is said to be in a flaccid state. Then in a sankocha sthiti antaru. And in this condition, flaccid state, we have already explained about certain symbols in our previous class. The psi P or the pressure potential of the cell will become zero at this condition. కణంలో ఉండే నీరు ఎప్పుడైతే బయటకు వచ్చేస్తుందో అప్పుడు ఆ కణం యొక్క పీడన శక్మము, that is psi P or the pressure potential will become zero. And we have also discussed in our previous class an equation. That equation is psi W is equal to psi P plus psi S. This is our equation. The water potential is equal to the algebraic sum of pressure potential and solute potential. In the plasmolysis state, the psi P value becomes 0. When the psi P value becomes 0, if this value becomes 0, now we can arrive at this condition, that is psi W will become equal to psi S. The water potential value of the cell will become equal to its solute potential. So this plasmolysis condition is it is not a normal routine situation in plants. This is a very deleterious condition for the cell. Normally we won't find this plasmolysis in plants. Plasmolysis is normally found in plants which live in saline areas. లవణం ఎక్కువగా ఉండే ప్రదేశాల్లో పెరిగే మొక్కలలో మనకి ప్లాస్మాలిసిస్ అనేటువంటిది కనిపిస్తుంది. In normal conditions, this plasmolysis is not at all observed in plants. And then what is the significance of this plasmolysis? This plasmolysis can be utilized, or the phenomenon of plasmolysis can be utilized for the storage of our food products like pickles. ఈ ఊరగాయలు అవి తయారు చేసేటప్పుడు we will add some salt, and this salt, as a result of this salt, that solution will become more hypertonic. So for the storage of fishes, or for the storage of pickles, or for the storage of fruits or some other storage items, we can use this phenomenon. So commercially this plasmolysis phenomenon is used up, but in plants, in natural conditions, this plasmolysis is not observed. When a plasmolysis takes place, the pressure potential of the cell will become zero, and that cell is said to be in a placid state. During this plasmolysis condition, the water potential of the cell will become equal to its solute potential. The aspect of our plant water relations is imbibition, and this is imbibition. It is nothing but absorption of water by certain colloids. There are some substances which are called as colloids, and whenever we place these colloids in water, and these colloids will absorb that water. As a result of this absorption, there will be an increase in the volume of these colloids. The volume of the colloids will be increasing, and that phenomenon is known as imbibition. Suppose if we place a colloid like gum. If we place a crystal gum in water, this is the water. This gum is known as the imbibent. This is called imbibent, or we can also call it as adsorbent. And this is the outer solution is known as imbibing solution. So when we place a dry gum in water, this gum will absorb water, and as a result of this absorption, the volume of the gum will be increasing, and this phenomenon is known as imbibition. In our daily life, we can come across with this phenomenon of imbibition when we place dry seeds in water. Those dry seeds will absorb the water, and the dry seeds will become swollen in their volume. And we can also use this phenomenon for our pea seeds. ఇప్పుడు బఠానీలు కానీ లేదా కొమ్ము శనగలు అని అంటుంటాము, వాటి నీటిలో వేస్తే దే విల్ అబ్జర్వ్ ది వాటర్. ఆ కొమ్ము శనగలు ఏంటంటే దే ఇంక్రీజ్ ఇన్ దే సైజ్ ఆల్సో. ఆ శనగలేమో బాగా వాటి వాల్యూమ్ ఇంక్రీజ్ అవుతూ ఉంటుంది. దట్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ imbibition. And this imbibition is a very important phenomena. During this imbibition, a type of pressure is created by the imbibed, and that pressure is known as matrix potential. Matrix potential is the energy that is released during the process of imbibition, and this matrix potential is represented by means of a symbol called psi m, and its value is always negative, and it can be measured in bars or megapascals. And this imbibition is a very important phenomenon, and by using this imbibition only, we can observe the seeds. When we sow the seeds in water or in soil, the seeds will germinate. So the germination of the seeds is a fine example for this imbibition. So an energy is required for the seed coat to burst. Seed coat will become burst, and a seedling will come out. That is a fine example for this imbibition. And this energy is of enormous magnitude. ఇక్కడ imbibition దీన్ని నిపానం అని అంటారు. ఈ నిపానం ద్వారా ఉత్పత్తి అయినటువంటి ఎనర్జీ, దట్ ఎనర్జీ ఈజ్ ఆఫ్ హయ్యర్ మ్యాగ్నిట్యూడ్, దీని వాల్యూ చాలా ఎక్కువగా ఉంటుంది. అండ్ వీ కెన్ యూజ్ దిస్ ఎనర్జీ ఫర్ స్ప్లిటింగ్ ద రాక్స్ ఆల్సో, రాళ్ళని పగలగొట్టడానికి కావలసినంత ఎనర్జీ ఈ నిమిషంలో ఉత్పత్తి అవుతుంది. దట్ ఈస్ ది ఇంపార్టెన్స్. అండ్ ది మ్యాగ్నిట్యూడ్ ఆర్ ది ఇంబిబిషనల్ ప్రెషర్ ఈజ్ ఆల్వేస్ equal to the type of substance that is present in the seeds. Suppose if we take pea seeds where the reserve food material is proteins. So the rate of inhibition or the capacity of inhibition depends upon the type of the substance that is stored in the seeds. If we take pea seeds where the proteins are stored, so the inhibitional capacity of the pea seeds will be more when compared with the seeds of wheat or seeds of some oil seeds. Proteins ఎక్కువగా ఉండేటువంటి బఠానీ సీడ్స్ కానీ మీరు తీసుకుంటే వాటికి ఇన్హిబిషన్ కెపాసిటీ చాలా ఎక్కువగా ఉంటుంది. సో ది ఇన్హిబిషనల్ కెపాసిటీ ఫర్ ప్రోటీన్స్ ఈస్ ఆల్వేస్ హయ్యర్ when compared with the inhibitional capacity for carbohydrates and fats. And this inhibition is a type of diffusion. And as you know, diffusion always takes place from a region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration. So basing on the pressure gradient only, this inhibition also works. So this inhibition is normally observed during the germination of the seeds in the soil at the time of their germination, and we can also observe some of these examples in our nature also. So this inhibition is, its value is very negligible. The psi m value, it is always negative. In a plant life we won't come across with this inhibition. మొక్క జీవితంలో ఇన్హిబిషన్ అనే ఫినామినా ఎప్పుడు జరగదు. బట్ ఎప్పుడు జరుగుతుంది? ఓన్లీ అట్ ది టైమ్ ఆఫ్ జర్మినేషన్ ఆఫ్ సీడ్ ఓన్లీ దిస్ ఇన్హిబిషన్ విల్ అకర్. బట్ ఇన్ ద ఎంటైర్ లైఫ్ హిస్టరీ ఆఫ్ ది ప్లాంట్ వీ వోంట్ ఫౌండ్ దిస్ ఇన్హిబిషన్. మొక్క జీవిత చరిత్రలో ఎక్కడా కూడా ఇన్హిబిషన్ కనబడదు. కాబట్టి ద వాల్యూ ఆఫ్ ఇన్హిబిషన్ దట్ ఈస్ psi m ఈజ్ ఆల్వేస్ నెగ్లిజిబుల్. సో కాబట్టి దీన్ని మనం ఈ వాల్యూని మనం లెక్కలోకి తీసుకోని అవసరము లేదు. దట్ ఈస్ అనదర్ ఆస్పెక్ట్. Pressure is the pressure developed in a cell when it is absorbing water from the outer atmosphere. So when we place a plant cell, suppose this is the plant cell, if we place the plant cell in a hypotonic solution, this is the plant cell, and water from outside enters into the plant cell, and as a result of this entry of water, the plant cell gradually it becomes swollen. The plant cell becomes swollen. And in this condition, this cell is said to be in a turgid state. Cell is in turgid state. This is the nucleus. And we can observe a type of pressure is created by the cytoplasm on the cell wall, towards the cell wall. A type of pressure is created from the cytoplasm onto the cell wall, and this pressure is known as Turgor pressure. At the same time, an equal and opposite pressure is created by the cell wall from outside to inside. This pressure is called as WP or wall pressure. So the Turgor pressure is created by the cytoplasm from inside to outside onto the cell wall. At the same time, an equal and opposite pressure is created by the cell wall towards the cytoplasm. That pressure is known as wall pressure. So the value of Tp is always equal to Wp. Turgor pressure is always equal to W wall pressure, but these pressures they occur in opposite directions. So this Turgor pressure is a very important phenomenon in plant cells. Whenever a cell is said to be in a turgid state, its psi p value its psi p value increases. Psi p value increases. Suppose when a cell is in a flaccid state and a turgid state, you have to differentiate these two states. Whenever a cell is placed in water, that cell absorbs water and it becomes swollen. In that condition, that cell is said to be in a turgid state. Whenever we place a cell in a hypertonic solution, water from the cell will come out, then that cell is said to be in a flaccid state. In a flaccid state, the psi p value is 0. In a flaccid state, the pressure potential of that cell is 0. The Turgor pressure is also called as, nowadays a new terminology, it is also called as pressure potential. The Turgor pressure PP is the older terminology. ఇది వరకు పూర్వం యూస్ చేసేటువంటి టెర్మినాలజీ ఇది. Now this Turgor pressure has been changed to this pressure potential, and this pressure potential is represented by the symbol psi p. When a cell is placed in hypotonic solution, the psi p value gradually increases. So in the flaccid state, psi w is equal to psi s, but in a turgid state, psi w p equal to psi p plus psi s. This value will be increasing. Initially it is 0, but when we place this cell in water, the psi p value becomes increasing. So we can calculate the psi w value by adding these two values, pressure potential and solute potential. Another important aspect of this phenomenon. So whenever this Turgor pressure is there, this cell it is intact. There is no any danger of the splitting up of its cell wall, because when the Turgor pressure is increasing, we can imagine that the cell wall may be broken, but it will be not that, because the wall pressure is operating simultaneously. So this wall pressure, it protects the cell walls, and the Turgor pressure, it gives sufficient strength to the cell, and by using this Turgor pressure, the plant body shows growth and development. So the Turgor pressure is meant for growth and development. The wall pressure is meant for giving protection to the cell by not undergoing any bursting due to the constant entry of the water. And there is another diffusion pressure density. We can also call it as DPD. This is a diffusion pressure deficit. It can be calculated like this. Suppose if you take pure water, this is pure water. Pure water means solvent. It shows some diffusion pressure. So the diffusion pressure of pure water, that is one aspect, and in the second aspect, this is solution. This is pure water or solvent, this is solution. In the solution, there is a solvent plus solute. So this solvent also has diffusion pressure. So the difference between the diffusion pressure of solvent part in a solution to the diffusion pressure of pure water or pure solvent. This solvent normally ఈ dp value ఎక్కువగా ఉంటుంది, because this is pure water, there is no any solute. So the diffusion pressure of pure water is always higher, ఎక్కువగా ఉంటుంది, whereas the diffusion pressure of solvent in a solution is always less. So the difference between the diffusion pressure of pure solvent and diffusion pressure of solvent in a solution is known as DPD. It is called DPD. So మన DPD diffusion pressure deficit calculate చేయాలంటే First we have to calculate the diffusion pressure of pure solvent, and then we have to calculate the diffusion pressure of solvent part of the solution. The difference between these two will give us dPd. And this dPd is also called as suction pressure. This is also called as suction pressure. So normally plants absorb water from the soil basing on this phenomenon known as dPd. And this dPd can be calculated. dPd is equal to OP minus T. This is the formula for the calculation of dPd. If we know the osmotic pressure of the cell and also the Dargar pressure of the cell, the difference between these two will give us the value that is known as the dPd. And this dPd, always water moves from a region of lower dPd to higher dPd. This is another concept you have to bear in mind. మొక్కల నీటిని నేలని శోషించేటప్పుడు నేలలో ఉండేటువంటి dPd ఎప్పుడు కూడా తక్కువగా ఉంటుంది, రూట్ హెయిర్లో ఉండే dPd ఎప్పుడు కూడా ఎక్కువగా ఉంటుంది. సో వాటర్ ఈజ్ ఆల్వేస్ మూవ్స్ ఫ్రమ్ ఎ రీజియన్ ఆఫ్ లోయర్ dPd టు higher dPd. సో వీ హ్యావ్ టు ఫస్ట్ క్యాలిక్యులేట్ ది dPd బై యూజింగ్ దీస్ టూ వాల్యూస్. మనకు అక్కడ ఆస్మాటిక్ ప్రెషర్ ఉంటుంది, డర్గార్ ప్రెషర్ ఉంటుంది. ఈ రెండింటి మధ్యలో ఉండే డిఫరెన్స్ కానీ మనం తీసుకుంటే we can calculate the dPd. dPd is also known as suction pressure. This is a very important phenomena, and this is highly useful for the absorption of water by the plants. Normally plants absorb water basing on this gradient known as dPd gradient. So far we have discussed about the short distance transport in plants. It is normally takes place with the help of diffusion, imbibition, osmosis, so many other aspects that we have discussed so far. The another important aspect is long distance transport in plants, and this long distance transport is also called as translocation. This is also called as translocation because plants require water. Water is normally available to the plants from the soil. There is a longer distance between the soil and the plant body. Suppose if this is the plant, this is the root system, and this is the soil. So from this water has to move. This is the tip of the stem. There are some plants like eucalyptus which measure a distance of 100 meters, or there are some plants which measure a distance of 110 meters. కొన్ని plants 100 మీటర్లు లేకపోతే 110 మీటర్ల హైట్ వరకు ఉంటాయి. So the water from the soil, it has to travel for longer distances. Finally this water is to reach the tip of the stem. So this process of upward movement of water from the soil to the tip of the stem, it always takes place through the xylem tissue. There is a vascular system in plants. దాన్ని ప్రసరణ వ్యవస్థ అని అంటున్నాం. This vascular system is generally made up of xylem and phloem. Xylem is mainly meant for upward movement of water from the soil to the tip of the plant. It may be 100 meters or 110 meters. So that's why it is called as long distance transport. చాలా సుదూరంగా నీరు పైకి ప్రవహించాలన్నమాట. And for the movement of water and mineral salts, xylem is required, and this movement is known as upward movement or upward translocation. And there is another important aspect, that is the second aspect is food materials. Food materials are synthesized in the leaves. Food materials are carbohydrates. These are so when we observe the plant, and this is the site, this is the leaf where food is synthesized, and this food has to travel in this direction, This is known as downward direction, and it has to reach. It has to reach the root. This is downward. This is upward direction, and this is downward direction, and these two constitutes translocation. So translocation is of two types. One is upward translocation. Second one is downward translocation. Upward translocation, it relates to the movement of water and mineral salts from the soil to the tip of the stem. The downward translocation, it includes the transport of food material that is synthesized in the leaf towards root. It occurs in a downward fashion, it occurs in an upward fashion. Whatever may be the concept, whether it is water or mineral salts or food, in bulk, this long distance transport, it is also called as bulk transport. This is called as bulk transport. And ఎక్కువగా లార్జ్ అమౌంట్స్ లో వాటర్ ఏమో పైకి అలా మూవ్ అవుతూ ఉంటుంది, అలాగే లార్జ్ అమౌంట్ లో ఫుడ్ ఏమో కింద మూవ్ అవుతూ ఉంటుంది. సో ది లాంగ్ డిస్టెన్స్ ట్రాన్స్పోర్ట్ ఈజ్ ఆల్సో కాల్డ్ యాజ్ బల్క్ ట్రాన్స్పోర్ట్. And for this bulk transport, vascular system in plants is required. The vascular system is of two types, xylem and phloem. Xylem is meant for the bulk transport of water from the soil to the tip of the stem, and bulk transport of food materials from the leaf to the root always takes place to the phloem. And this bulk transport flow or bulk transport is of two types. It can be achieved by two types. Positive hydrostatic pressure, or it can be achieved by negative hydrostatic pressure. So bulk flow means the movement of water or food materials in bulk. ఒక సమూహంగా నీరు పైకి ప్రవహించడం, లేకపోతే ఒక సమూహంగా లీఫ్లో నుంచి ఫుడ్ మెటీరియల్ కిందకి ప్రవహించడం. కాబట్టి దీన్ని బల్క్ ఫ్లో ఆర్ సమూహ ప్రవాహము అని చెప్పారు. ఈ బల్క్ ఫ్లో జరగాలంటే దీస్ ఆర్ ది టూ మెథడ్స్. ద ఫస్ట్ వన్ ఈస్ పాజిటివ్ హైడ్రోస్టాటిక్ ప్రెషర్. Because of the development of this pressure known as the root pressure. Root pressure is developed inside the root system. So when the root system absorbs water, by the operation of this root pressure, a positive hydrostatic pressure is created inside the xylem. With the help of that positive hydrostatic pressure, the water will ascend up or it will move up. So this root pressure is useful for the upward movement of water. This is one possibility. There is another possibility called negative hydrostatic pressure. This negative hydrostatic pressure is due to transpiration pull. This is called as transpiration pull. As you know, transpiration means evaporation of water from the aerial plant parts. When transpiration is higher in the upper parts of the plant body, a pressure is created in the upper regions. That pressure is known as transpiration pull, and that transpiration pull will move or will lift the water from the soil in an upward direction. So the upward movement of water with the help of root pressure is called as positive hydrostatic pressure, or the upward movement of water by the transpiration pull that is created due to transpiration is known as negative hydrostatic pressure, and these two pressures are mainly responsible for the bulk flow of materials inside the plant body. Other WhatsApp 934 0 1 2